JinPingMei Original Version Chapter 10. A righteous man serves the Mingzhu Road, and the wives and concubines enjoy the Furong Pavilion. It is said that Wu Er was taken by the local Baojia to the county to see the magistrate, but there was no question. Simon King jumped out of the window and hid in someone's courtyard. It turned out to be Mr. Hu practiced medicine. I saw a fat girl from his family coming to the toilet to clean her hands and kicking her big butt. Suddenly, I saw a man crouching into the courtyard wall. He couldn't move forward and shouted, "There is a thief!" Old man who came in hurriedly. When he saw it, he recognized it was Simon King and said, "Master, Wu Er couldn't find you," so he beat the man to death. The local government took him to the county official. "This will definitely be a death penalty. Return to the official, go home and expect nothing will happen." Simon King thanked Mr. Hu and came home. He told Pan Jinlian about 1, 5 and 10. The two clapped their hands and laughed, thinking that the trouble was gone. The woman asked Simon King to give him more money, so that he could be killed and not let him out. On the one hand, Simon King sent his close family members to Wanger, and presented the magistrate with a pair of gold and silver wine vessels and 50 taels of silver. The officials also spent a lot of money, but Zhu Qingqin and Wu Er were the only ones. The magistrate accepted the bribe and was promoted to office the next day. The local people escorted Wu Song and a group of bartenders and singers to kneel down in the hall. The county boss turned his face and shouted, "Wu Song, you falsely accused Ping Ren yesterday, and I have given you mercy many times. How can you not follow the law and now beat someone to death for nothing?" Wu Song said. The villain was originally related to Simon King. I wanted to fight with him for revenge, but unexpectedly bumped into this man. He hid Simon King without telling him, and the villain got angry and beat him to death by mistake. I only hope that my husband will make the decision with the villain, use Simon King to rectify the law, and avenge this with the villain's brother. A grudge. The villain is willing to pay for this person's accidental injury, the county magistrate said. This guy is talking nonsense. Don't you recognize him as a local official in the county? There must be a reason why he is being killed today. Why is he entangled with Simon King again? How can he be recruited without beating him? He ordered the left and right to increase the punishment. 3 or 4 slaves on both sides dragged Wu Song over and beat him 20 times like raindrops. After the beating, Wu kept saying that he was unjust. The villain also has a place to serve my husband. Don't you have mercy on me? My husband, don't torture the villain. After hearing this, the magistrate became more and more angry and said, You beat someone to death with your own hands, and you still have the strength to deny it." He ordered, "Hao Shang, come and beat me up." Then he beat Wu Song again, struck 50 sticks, taught him how to grow a shackle, and put him in prison. Inside, a group of people were imprisoned in the gatehouse. The county magistrate and assistant officials in Nizhang were also friends with Wu Er. They thought he was a righteous man and wanted to deal with him. However, they accepted bribes from Simon King and became stubborn and refused to make any suggestions. Seeing that Wu Song was just complaining, he was tortured for several days, so he had no choice but to obtain a confession. He summoned the official Dian and the widower, neighbors, etc., and took him to Lion Street to examine Li Weiquan's body and fill in the boxes of the corpse. When Wu Song asked him about the unfair distribution of money, he got drunk and became angry. They got into a fight, punched and kicked him, and fell to his death. There were bruises ranging from green to red on the left ribs, face, heart, and kidney sac. After the test is clear, return to the county. One day, I made a document to declare the details and sent them to Dongping Mansion to confirm the details. The Yin of Dongping Prefecture, whose surname was Chen Shuang and whose surname was Wen Zhao, was from Henan. He was an extremely honest official. After hearing the report, he was immediately promoted to the imperial court. But see him, he is a pride and wise in his life. When he was young, he wrote about Xiang Zuan, and when he grew up, he studied in Jinluan. Always have a heart of loyalty and filial piety, and carry out benevolent policies every time. Household registration is registered, money and grain are managed, the streets are filled with people's praises. Poems are reduced, thieves are put to rest, and the elders' hymns noisy in the market. It's just that the famous mark has been in history for thousands of years, and the sound has been passed down through the ages. A virtuous man is called King Shen, and his parents are upright and honest. When the governor Chen Wenjiao was promoted to the court, he took care of these prisoners. He first read the King County application documents and then read the confessions and drafts of each person. Why was it written on the paper? The text says, King County, Dongbing Prefecture, filed a murder report, stating that the prisoner Wu Song was 28 years old and had a surname from Yanggu County. Because of his physical strength, he participated in Du in this county. When I returned home on official business to pay homage to my deceased brother, I saw that my sister-in-law, Pan, did not keep her filial piety and married without permission. That day, Song Song was listening in the alley, but he bumped into Li Weiquan at Wang Luan restaurant on Lion Street. Because he was drunk, he asked for 300 yuan of money he had borrowed before asking for it, but it was rumored that he refused. They also had a disagreement, so they fought and refused to accept each other. They were kicked and seriously injured, and he died at that time. There were witnesses from Niu Shi and Bao Shi, who were singing women, and they were captured by the local Baojia. The commissioned officials went to the corpse house, gathered the gangsters, Ligia people, etc., examined them clearly, took the confessions, filled in the diagrams, and handed them over. There was no difference in the re-examination. It is imitated that Wu Songhe fights and kills people, regardless of siblings, other objects, or gold, and the law is hanging. The bartender Wang Luan, Niu and Bo all confess their innocence. Now that the case has come to light, please allow me to implement it. August day of the 3rd year of Zheng. The county magistrate is Li Daishan. The county chief is La Hian. The chief administrator is Hua Helu. The official is Jia Gongji. And the official is Jin Lao. The governor read it over, called Wu Song over, and asked, "How do you beat Li Weiquan to death?" Wu Song just kowtowed and said, "Master King Shen, I will see the light of day when I am brought to justice." The little ones speak. The little ones dared to speak. Fu Yin said, "You just talk about it." Wu Song then married Simon King to the Pan family, caught him with his brother, and kicked him in the middle. Later, the county government was not allowed to file a complaint. He went through the whole story in detail and said, the younger brother wanted to avenge his brother, but because he was looking for Simon King to fight, he was accidentally beaten. Death of this man. It was a small man who had been wronged, but Simon Chinkian was a big man, so he could not be banned. It is not a pity for a small man to die, but it was just his brother Wu Da who had been wronged and his life was in vain. Fu Yin said, "You don't need to say more, I already know everything." Because he called the official Jin Lao, he scolded Shaban and said, "Your county magistrate doesn't want to be an official. So why are you so willing to betray the law?" So he reviewed and recorded all the people one by one, and recorded them with a pen. Wu Song changed his confession, because he said to Zuo Erguan, "This man accidentally killed Li Weiquan to avenge his brother. He was also a righteous man, and he was different from killing ordinary people. He opened his long yoke, put it on the yoke of a minor offender, and put him in prison." All the people were sent back to the county to wait. On the one hand, he wrote a document and landed in King County. He mentioned the evil Simon King, together with his sister-in-law Pan, Wang Po, brother Yan, and his wife Heju. When Wu Song was in prison in Dongbing Mansion, everyone knew that he was a good man, so they didn't even charge him a penny when he was in prison, and even gave him food and wine. Someone had already reported this matter to King County. Simon King found out and panicked. Chen Wenjiao is an honest official and dare not come to deal with him. He had no choice but to go and beg his relatives, Chen Jai's confidants, and ask his family to come to Tokyo and write to Admiral Yang at night. The admiral was transferred to the central cabinet, Grand Master Kai. The Grand Master was afraid of hurting Li Jixian's reputation, so he quickly sent a secret letter to Dongbing Mansion to talk to Chen Wenjiao, without mentioning Simon King or Pan. This Chen Wenjiao was originally the chief of the Dali Temple, and was promoted to the governor of Dongbing Prefecture. He was also a disciple of Taishi Kai. He also saw that Admiral Yang was an official who could speak in front of the court. He used this favor to save Wu Song from death and asked him a question. The spine cane is 40, and the thorn is equipped with an army of 2,000 miles. Kwang Wu Da is dead. His body has no injuries, and the matter is suspicious, so don't discuss it. The remaining prisoners released the Ning family. The detailed application has been submitted to the provincial court, and the document will be implemented as soon as it arrives. Chen Wenjiao took Wu Song out of the prison, read the imperial surrender in front of the court, opened the long shackles, so as not to have a spine of 40, took a 7.5 kilogram iron leaf ball head shackle and nailed it, and tattooed 2 lines of gold characters on his face, repeatedly equipped with Mengju Prison City. After the rest of the settlement was completed, the palace official escorted the official documents and sent to anti-delivery officials to take Wu Songji to Mengju for delivery. On that day, Wu Song and the 2 gentlemen left Dongbing Prefecture and came to his home in the county. They sold a lot of their household goods and sent the 2 gentlemen to pay for their expenses on the way. He asked his left neighbor Yao Erlang to look after Yinger if you meet the favor of the court. If you are pardoned and return home, your kindness will be repaid, and you will not dare to forget it. Neighbors and households saw that Wu was a righteous man, and they all supported him with silver, food, wine, money, and rice. When Wu went downstairs, he asked the local soldiers for their luggage and parcels. He left King County on the same day and took a meandering route to Mengju Avenue. There is poetry to prove it. Fu Yin recommended the details to serve the public, but Wu Song was about to die, and he was relieved. Today, when I go to the prison city, the thick grass is luxuriant and the warm wind blows. Here Wu went to Mengju to serve as a servant, so there is no need to mention it. When Simon King asked about him and went on his way, a stone fell to the ground, and he felt as if he had gone away from the gangster and felt very at ease. So the family arranged for Lai Wang, Lai Bo, and Lai Xing'er to clean the Furong pavilion in the back garden, lay out screens, hang up brocade barriers, arrange banquets, and invite musicians to play, sing and dance. Invite the eldest lady Wu Yunyang, the second lady Li Jier, the third lady Meng Yulu, the fourth lady Sun Zui, and the fifth lady Pan Jinlian to have a drink together. The family's wives, maids and maids served on both sides. But see, burning incense on the tripod, flowers in golden vases. The utensils are listed as antiques in Xiangzhou, and the pearls and hapu are listed as curtains. In the crystal plate, there is a high pile of fire dates and pears. In the jasper cup, there is a lot of nectar and jade liquid. Cooking dragon's liver and blasting phoenix's innards. As expected, thousands of dollars were spent on chopsticks, black bear's paws, purple camel's hooves, and after drinking, the house was filled with incense. Crush the phoenix ball, and the white jade pot will be divided into white waves. Pour in the agar liquid, and the purple gold pot will spray out the fragrance. After all, he was the only one who dared to bully Shi Changfu after defeating Lord Mengzhang. At present, Simon King and Wu Yunyang are sitting at the top, and the others are sitting next to each other, passing cups and lamps round, and surrounded by flowers. In the drinking room, I saw the young boy Diane leading a young boy and a little daughter. She had hair equal to her eyebrows and was well behaved. She was holding the boxes and said, "The flower shop next door is sending flowers for the ladies to wear." When they came to Simon King and Yunyang, they all kowtowed and stood beside them, saying, "My mother asked me to send this box of snacks and flowers to Mrs. Simon to wear." Opening the boxes, I saw that one contained pretzel cakes with fruit fillings used in the imperial court, and the other contained freshly picked hostas. Yunyang was filled with joy and said, "I asked your mother to worry again." While looking at the dishes, I sent 2 of them to have some snacks. Yunyang gave the little girl a piece of sweat towel and Oi Boy 100 coins, and said, "Please pay more attention to your mother. Thank you very much." Because he asked the little girl, "What is your name?" He replied, "My name is Shu Chen. I am Tianfuer." Sent away, Yunyang then said to Simon King, "We are pretty good girls from a flower family. We often send our servants and girls to give us things. I have never returned any gifts to him, Simon King said, Brother Hua has been married to this lady for less than 2 years. He said that she has a good personality. Otherwise, how could we have these two good girls in the house? Yun Young said, when the former's husband died and there was a funeral, I met him on the top of the mountain. He was short in stature, lumpy-skinned, with thin eyebrows. He was fair and had a gentle temperament. He was still young, not 24-5. Simon King said, you don't know. He was originally the concubine of Liang Zhongshu of Daming Palace. He married late and came from a poor family. He came with a good amount of money, Yun Young said. He brought a box. Let's not send him the etiquette. We will also send some gifts to answer him tomorrow. The judge heard that it turned out that Hua Zixu's surname was Li. And because she was born on the 15th day of the first lunar month, a pair of fish bottles were given to her on that day. So she called her pink sister in small Chinese characters. First, she became a concubine with Liang Zhongshu of Daming Palace. Liang Zhongshu was the son-in-law of Kai Taishi in Tokyo. His wife was very jealous, and most of the victims beaten by her maids and concubines were buried in the back garden. Mrs. Li only lives in the study outside, with her adoptive mother waiting for her. Just because on the night of the first month of the 3rd year of Zhang, Liang Zhongshu and his wife were upstairs in Qian. Li Kui killed the whole family, and Liang Zhongshu and his wife escaped separately. Mrs. Li brought 100 large Western pearls and 2 pairs of sapphires, and went to Tokyo with her adoptive mother to visit her relatives. At that time, eunuch Hua was promoted from the royal class to guard Guangnan. Because his nephew Huazi had lost his wife, he asked a matchmaker to arrange a marriage and marry him as the main wife. When the eunuch went to Guangnan, he also took him there and lived there for more than half a year. Unfortunately, eunuch Hua was ill and retired at home. Because he was from Qing County, he lived in this county. Now that eunuch Hua is dead, more than a penny is in Sixu's hands. Every day I walk in the courtyard with my friends, and Simon King and I were sworn brothers the day before. All day long, 10 members of the first class of Count Ying and Si Shi would gather together in one place every month to sing and play with flowers. Everyone also saw that Hua Zixu was a diligent servant of an internal minister. He used money to coax him to invite a prostitute in the courtyard and stayed away for 3 to 5 nights. Exactly, the spring scenery is beautiful in Zemo, and the orchestra is drunk in the Red Mansion. How many lives can there be? And happiness is in vain. This matter is out of the question. It is said that on that day, Simon King led his wife and concubines to have a happy family, and drink at the Furong Pavilion until late in the evening. When he came back, Pan Jinlian was already half drunk. He was enjoying the wine and wanted to have sex with the woman. The woman quickly burned incense, laid the bed, and undressed him to go to bed. Simon King did not argue with him, knowing that women were the best at playing the flute, so he sat in the green gauze tent, with the woman crawling beside him, held the golden necklace in his hands, held the words, and swallowed them in his mouth. Simon King lowered his head and played with the magic of coming and going. He slurped for a long time, and his lust doubled, because JinPingMei came in and handed tea. The woman was afraid that the girl would see her, so she quickly put down the curtain. Simon King asked, "What are you afraid of?" Because he said, "There are 2 good girls in the second brother's room next door. The one who sent flowers today is the little girl. The other one is also JinPingMei's age, and it was also received by the second brother Hua. I've used it, but when I saw his mother standing at the door, he followed her out, but she was very good looking. Who knew that this second brother Hua was so young and so full of people in the house?" After hearing this, the woman took a look at him. He glanced at it and said, "You weird connoisseur, I can't scold you. You want to accept this girl in your heart. Just accept her. How can you make trouble from afar? Tell the truth, and compare yourself to a slave. A slave is not that kind of person. He is not like that. She's not my girl. In that case, tomorrow I'll sit back and make some room. And you can call him in the room and let him do what he wants." After Simon King heard this, he said happily, "My son, you know how to understand things like this. How can you teach me not to love you?" The 2 of them talked in perfect harmony, and felt more beautiful and in love than each other. They slowly enjoyed the flute. Just fell asleep with my head in my arms. Exactly, I have my own internal affairs to welcome my husband's wishes, and I play the purple flute diligently. There is Shijang Moon as evidence. The gauze tent is fragrant with orchids and musk deer. Mei is used to playing the flute. The jade body of snow shines through the curtains of the room. I can't help but feel my soul is shattered. Jade wrist cage gold bracelet. The two are intoxicated with love. The talented man was moved and told his slaves to no. Suck slowly for a while. The next day, as expected, the woman went to sit in Mengyu's building. Simon King called JinPingMei to the room and took over the girl. Exactly, in spring, the apricots bloom red and the willows turn green in the wind. From then on, Pan Jinlian lifted him up with all her strength, and did not let him go to the pot or wipe the stove. She only asked him to make the bed and fold the quilts in the room, hand him tea, pick out his favorite clothes and jewelry, and entangle his feet until they were small. It turns out that JinPingMei is different from Kyuju. She is intelligent, playful, good at coping, and has a bit of color. Simon King dotes on him very much. Kyuju was stupid and ignorant, and it was he who women often beat. Exactly, the chattering in the chaffinch pond is noisy, but the soft bees and tender butterflies are always pitiable. Although the numbers are the same as those of flying birds, their high and low status are different.
Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.